Not your average tabletop. Woohoo!
Welcome to Not Your Average Tabletop. I'm Zach.
And I'm Pepper.
And today we need your help in determining which one of these games we should late pledge.
Yes.
If any.
If any.
So we're going to need you to comment below on your pick.
These are all trash. Save your money.
Yeah, let us know. I mean, if that's the case, if you've played all of these games and don't like any one of them, let us know below. We'd love to hear it. We'll be able to save our money and put it towards something else. But yes, as you could maybe see in the title, thumbnail, whatever we end up putting, we're kind of trying to make a decision on kind of out of three games.
The toughest decision we've ever made in our lives.
It is a pretty tough decision, but they're all somewhat spendy games by the time you pay for shipping and stuff.
Gameplay-wise, not that similar.
Right. That is true. That's one thing to note.
Three that we are interested in at the same time.
Right.
All pretty spendy, like you said.
Right.
Probably shouldn't get all three.
Right. Exactly. But yeah, so those are Foundations of Rome, Wonderland's War, and Merchant's Cove.
Yes.
So they're kind of all games that are in a reprint currently, or a second print run of their campaigns. So I believe they all kind of have some expansion content too. Some I think more than others. But even if we just got base game, or went back and got base game from these, that's kind of what we're looking at. Not really which one offers the most or anything like that.
So all games that we were interested in right away in the first print run, first release, but just didn't quite get sold and pull the trigger at that point. Like you said, they're all back at the same time.
Right, exactly, which makes it tough. And so I guess we can kind of get into what our thoughts are. I don't really know where this video will all go, but just let us know in the comments below if you've played any of these, what your thoughts are on those ones, or if you're like, this great game is one of my top games of all time, definitely get this one. And we'll love to see what other people think.
So we have played two of these games.
Yes.
What should we talk about first?
So we can talk about kind of the order in which we played them. So you can check out, we actually have a video recapping us going to the World Series of Board Gaming, and we played some games.
We find a way to plug these videos.
We plug these videos in every video. But we were able to, the Dice Tower West Library was there, so we were able to try two of these. And I don't believe the third one was there. I don't think so. No. We didn't have the option to play that one. But we started the whole trip.
First game we played,
Merchant's Cove.
Yes.
And we only got one play of it in, and we'd never been to like an event or anything before, so it's a little bit intimidating, feeling like, I want to get all these games played and stuff, considering there was the whole library there. So I would say this one felt a little difficult to learn. I don't know that it's a difficult game.
And you probably, if you know anything about it, heard them talk about it, you probably heard it mentioned that it can be a tough teach, even if you know the game. You just got to teach everybody their individual, because it's very variable player powers. The game itself, the core of it's pretty simple, straightforward, but everyone's playing their own unique mini game to do that core part of the game.
Right.
Which I think some of ours were easier than others. I think I definitely had the most straightforward one, but yours looked like quite a bit more complicated. And I think, just being the first game that we're playing, and we were a little overconfident. We didn't put up one of the teacher wanted signs. Which,
right.
I mean, it's always tough. It's like, that could be weird. I don't know. Right. Could be some pressure on us too. And
I think, I would say our knowledge on these three is not the highest amount of knowledge, kind of minimal. So I guess from my understanding, I had thought these were a little, I thought it would be hard to learn because we're all learning a different thing. But overall, I thought the game was thought to have been kind of more medium to lighter, not like a insanely heavy game, like maybe closer to a Root or something, where it's a similar thing where all the players have different powers and stuff. But I thought it was kind of maybe that a little easier, so I wasn't too worried about it. But once we actually started going through the rules, some things were
And it's like, yeah, there were some confusing parts of talking like this, and it's like, what? You get that? I'm not seeing that anywhere here, but it's just some variable player power that those other players don't have. But then you're asking questions, and they don't know how to help you with that.
Right.
So it was a little tougher. But once we did play it, I enjoyed it quite a bit. I think, like you said, the core of it is pretty straightforward. It's just kind of collecting different colors or building
Whatever
goods.
your thing, you're bringing your good to the market.
Yeah,
whatever,
bringing your good
however
to
you're
the
doing
market
it.
and kind of manipulating the market to make certain colored goods more valuable than others, which I really enjoyed that, and I think it's the perfect level of complexity when you do have such variability in your own player board.
Yeah, I would agree. I did like that way you could manipulate those to make some things worth more than others. And yeah, I think that part of the game felt the best for our first play. I would say after playing that first time, I would feel more confident in the one that I was playing and would probably have played it a little bit differently. Just in my head, I didn't think of kind of how long the game was going to be and how many turns I would get to do kind of what I was doing, because there's kind of another resource is time based on what actions you're doing. So you're spending that in certain ways. And because of that, I probably would have spent my time a little differently. But yeah, I enjoyed the first play, and I would be very interested in not only trying mine again, but trying all the other ones. And I think that's why this one is still in consideration, because I wouldn't say that my first play is like, oh, this is an instant back. I absolutely love this game, but I could see with more plays it could grow because of that variability in the players and just getting better at the ones. It's not really, even though we ended up only playing it once just because it took us a while, I'm not sure if the game is usually that long or if it was just because we were learning. But we didn't actually play it again right away. So it's hard to really tell where it would have fallen with more plays. But yeah, so that's why it's still on the list, because it's still a very interesting thing where you could try different kind of mini games.
Yeah, that was probably my biggest worry. Was there's going to be cool variability, but is there really going to be a core game that actually excites me? And after playing, I think it was very rewarding. Felt very rewarding and satisfying, that core game. So definitely really excited to explore it more.
So yeah, that one we played. That's kind of what we know about it. I think in the expansion, or the most recent one, I think they're bringing maybe some more characters, and I think they're adding another board. I don't remember exactly what that does, but I was kind of more interested in whatever in the additional characters and stuff versus kind of adding more to the game. But so
that's thoughts on Merchant's Cove. If you have any experience with that, you can share it below and your thoughts on it, and if you backed it and if you've enjoyed that purchase and were happy with it, or possibly regret it, in which case you can send it to us.
Right. And let us know below too, maybe on the time that, if you've played it several times, how long do you think that one usually takes? Maybe is it a longer game still after several plays? Does it still feel like it's a little longer, or does it get quicker and quicker as you've played it more and more and get more comfortable with it, like a lot of games? So then that leads us to the second one of the three that we actually did play, and that is Wonderland's War.
Yes, and this one was a long game.
This one was a long game, and I think even with more plays, it would still be long. So this one was also a tough one to learn, and because this one, there's a lot going on. You do have variable player powers, but a majority of the game you're all doing similar things, so that doesn't really influence as much here. You're building a bag of tokens, kind of like a Quacks of Quedlinburg-esque game, and you are pulling those out to kind of try to win combats. So it's a little bit different. You're still kind of building up like you would in Quacks, but and then the tokens kind of have special powers similar to that. And then you can choose kind of when you want to stop in a battle, and you get points for winning, and you also get points for second. So you kind of want to make sure you're getting involved in these battles. I do find that to be really cool.
Yep.
But then you can also kind of forge your tokens to get some additional bonuses and stuff. So there's just a lot going on in the game. So that one was a difficult one to learn. We did have a teachers wanted sign up for pretty much the whole time we were learning the rules. And of course, right when we kind of got into our first round of the game, we were just finishing kind of that first round, getting into the combat phase, because kind of the first piece, you're going around this table, Wonderland's table, picking these cards up to kind of get yourself some troops and get some various different bonuses and stuff depending on what the cards say, which is another interesting kind of drafting piece. It's kind of I don't know what you'd even call it. Kind of going in a circle and
kind of rondelle, but there's really not much limitation.
Right,
there.
you can kind of go as far as you want, so it's not quite the same, but it's similar, because the one limitation is you go around, you're gaining these shards that you do not want. I ended up taking way too many of those.
Had a monopoly on that.
And it hurt me quite a bit. But anyway, so then of course we get done with that portion, and we're finally into the combat. And Tom Vassell strolls up and asks us, "Oh, did you still need help with this?" After we had, I don't know how long, it's probably 40 minutes learning the game. And so we were kind of there. I think we did have a couple questions, but overall, it probably would have been nice to be able to learn it, because I think both of these games, it's tough because I think just those long learning periods, because we didn't. This is kind of on us. We should have probably maybe determined beforehand which games we kind of wanted to play, so we could maybe look up some videos on how to play and stuff, so we could be a little more comfortable going into it. So I think that hurt both of these a little bit, just because they both had quite a bit going on. We ended up playing that one, and I think when I'm comparing them, the initial plays of them, I enjoyed this one, I think, quite a bit more from after a first play, but it was quite long. I would say that it's one of the games where, so when we do our reviews, our chippy reviews, we have investment, which can kind of be time investment in the game. Does it ever feel like it's going on too long? And I feel like this is one out of, I don't know, there's not many that I ding for, like, feeling like, oh, this feels like too many rounds too long, or something about it makes it feel too long. But this one might actually get hit for me, dinged for me for being just a bit too long. Might overstay its welcome a bit.
It's weird, because if you removed like an entire round, I feel like it would be lacking. But
that's the tough part.
There's really no way to
do
that, because a round is pretty big. But it did go on a little long. But I did enjoy pretty much the entire game. I really love the bag building and kind of the combat in every. There's going to be combat in every area. That there's people at least.
Right. Yep.
And I love that. It kind of removes some of the kind of crunchy strategy of games with battling, where it's like all about timing and kind of when to move in here and this. This, it's just predetermined. We're going to go around. We're going to battle in every area, so it removes some of that strategy, which can really bog down some games with this much combat. So I really, really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I would 100% agree. I loved the combat part of this game, and I could almost do a game with just the combat pieces, but I guess the rest of it is kind of what sets up that combat.
Yeah, building the
difficult,
bag and
but
all that.
I really love the way the combat works in this one, and I could do a game with just that if there was a way to kind of get through that first part just a little bit quicker.
Yeah, and I love, like you said, that you do get rewards even if you get second place in the combat, and that really helps with some of those objective cards, which an objective, I think it scores for something in the game that you can complete. like 3 points for that, and then you can also get 3 points at the end of the game if you have something met, and then if you actually were to get both of them instead of just one of those, you get an additional 3 points on top of that, and I went really heavy for those, and it was just so satisfying to get those chunks of points, and probably one of my favorite kind of objective completions in a game, which, I don't know, I just really, really like those, which usually isn't something that I go for, like completing objectives, but none of them were like, win a combat with this. Most of the time it's something that you can easily control, and sometimes throw a combat even, to just get at a certain level when drawing your bag. Really enjoyed it. And fantastic production as well. And Merchants had a really good... Merchant's Cove had a really nice production as well, but this one just, I don't know what level of pledge there is, but you have all these awesome castles, and I just really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I would agree, and yeah.
Huge table presence.
It takes up a lot of room on the table, it is for sure.
We have a big table, but I think it would pretty much fill it.
Yeah, I would agree, and yeah, I think this one has a lot of kind of replayability to it, because there's different like Wonderland creatures that you can kind of get to help you as well, and they kind of have special powers which were really, really cool. I thought, because Michaela kind of used the most of those, and they always seemed like almost overpowered, game-breaking kind of cool things. So yeah, I had a good time with it. Just like Merchant's Cove, if you've ever played this one, let us know if you think it always goes, feels a little bit longer. I think it is a game that would be a bit long. I don't know that I would want to play it many more than 3 or 4.
I wonder how, I guess, as well, how do you think it works at 2 players with the combat? I'm just
so we play a lot of 2-player games as well. So
and I know Michaela's not always up for a very long game, so it could just be us 2 playing it, and just with kind of the whole core of the game being combat. At the end of the round, I don't know.
At 3 at least.
Yeah, I would think probably 3 would be the sweet spot, but obviously we only played it once, so if you have any thing you'd like to share on that, definitely do that.
Yeah, so then that brings us to the third one, which is one we haven't played. And that is Foundations of Rome.
Yes, we've watched playthroughs on the Dice Tower of this, or I have, so we know a little bit of it.
So yeah, you're kind of throughout the game, you're buying plots of land on if you've ever played Bunny Kingdom, it's kind of a grid like that. It's not as fancy, I don't think, as a grid, but you have like A1, A2, and you're bidding to kind of own property on spaces there, and it's kind of like, it's the same designer as Century and stuff, where you have your row of the different
the
plots, and if you buy the one that's closest here, it's the cheapest, and it gets more expensive as you go on. So you're able to buy any of those that you have access to, and it just seems like a really snappy way to do that. And then you're putting buildings out, and then you have bigger buildings that you can replace those buildings with. So then you can kind of, if you own multiple properties next to each other, you can pick up those ones and put in the new one.
It's kind of like tiny towns. In a way, where you're kind of getting the plots on there to form these shapes to then place the building of the matching shape onto that spot.
It'll cover those spots. It's the similar thing to tiny towns. Whereas that one, you pick one of the 3 spots that, or however big the shape is, and put the building there. This one will keep covering the rest of those spots. But it's the same concept for sure. So it's kind of a combination of those things, and makes me think of Bunny Kingdom a little bit. I don't know if it has like the kind of the parchment type pieces that you can gain throughout the game to get a lot of bonus points at the end, but you're kind of trying to get groups of things together. I don't think you need as big of groups, kind of like in Bunny Kingdom. You're trying to get bigger and bigger, so there's a little bit there. It looks like this is, compared to the other 2, probably the fastest of the 3, if I had to guess. It seems pretty snappy, because you're either just buying, pretty much, it's not really drafting, but kind of taking a card each time, or taking income. and for the income, I think it's just however many. I think you get some of your buildings are like money, and then some are like points or something.
Yep.
And so you'll get one or kind of coins for all of your coin buildings when you just take income to kind of help you buy future cards. So I think the turns are just really quick and snappy. But I think this one might also be the most cutthroat of them. Because you kind of could take people's building spots. If it's like, well, if I let him have that, he's going to be able to build, maybe his whatever building it might be. But seems like a very quick game that makes sense as you look at it.
Yep, for sure. And of course, the production is. I mean, there's no cardboard version of this game. Every single one has those fantastic miniatures, those buildings that you put out there, which for having a board that is just spreadsheet, just squares with A1, A2, A3. Once you do get the buildings on there, it does look absolutely fantastic. So that's another big draw of this game. All three of these games, I think, have a great table presence. This one's probably. Do you think this one would be the best?
See, that's what I'm thinking. That's the tough part. That's why we need you guys.
Yes.
If you've played these, because I feel like this one. I don't even know if I'd say it's the best, but it might get played the most.
Yeah,
that's maybe how I think it, because I think it's going to be the quickest. I think it's going to be the most approachable, and so I maybe if I played all of them, I might still like Wonderland's War the most. I would think, but I think I would play this one a lot more.
Yeah. I feel I have a similar feel that I did to Merchant's Cove in this, where I'm like, okay, this looks really fun, really satisfying, but is it too simple? Especially for being expensive. All three of these, like we said, are very expensive. I feel that same way with this, where I'm like, is it really worth it? Because I don't know. It feels familiar with all the mechanisms in there. So I don't know if it does anything mechanically groundbreaking.
Right.
But kind of like Century, I don't think that does too much out of the ordinary, but it's just so solid and so
clean,
streamlined and clean, and that it's just like that's one that I just really wish that was there and we could have gotten to play, just to really feel if it actually has enough to make that purchase.
Yeah, I agree, and then kind of see Michaela's thoughts on it, because she played the other two, and I would guess neither one was really her favorite, so it would have been nice to see if she liked this one.
Yeah, you can check out our rankings of all the new games we played in Vegas for that.
Yes.
And see where I forget which one was higher. I would think Merchant's Cove was higher.
I think so.
Than Wonderland's War, but I don't think either were really near the top of her list. But yeah, I think she would probably like Foundations of Rome the most.
I think
but
so
like
too.
you said, there's that little bit of cutthroat nature. But so if you hold back and don't really play too cutthroat, then I think she should have a good time with it.
Yeah, I would agree. But yeah, so it's kind of a tough decision. I don't know for sure, but yeah, like you said, there's just pretty much that grand, version of it. But at the same time, it's a simpler one, and that's the one thing that worries me for that game, is because it's got that simplicity. But that doesn't mean it's a bad game, because I love games like King Domino, and I love Century, and I would argue those are pretty simple games comparatively to a lot of other ones. But they're just so clean that just makes me want to get back to them. Or Lanterns is clean. I really like that one, and it's. I wouldn't say it's like ooh, wow, this is a really, really exciting game that makes or just does these really cool things that no other game does. But they're just like, you play them and I'm like, yep,
maybe
that
like
feels good.
One little clever thing in there, but everything else is just so clean, like you said. And I feel like what I've seen of Foundations, it has that same feel, but obviously much bigger production
on a bigger scale. So those are those three games. That's kind of what we know of them. There may be, I'm sure if any of you have played them or played them multiple times, you might have more thoughts on them. So we'd love to hear your thoughts below. Maybe maybe you've played all three of these and none of them are good in your opinion. So if that's the case, let us know if there's a Kickstarter or GameFound project coming up, which one do you think we should check out? Or maybe even, I'm guessing it'd be cheaper than that. What other game is out there that maybe is available right now, and then we don't even have to wait to get it for, who knows, a year or 2 years by the time we'd get it. I guess any other thoughts on those three?
I think that was a good. I think I got everything out there.
Yeah. So I think those are our thoughts. We're interested in that. Like I said, that's the only one we haven't played, so it's kind of like it's the thing you don't know. The thing things you don't know about it.
Yeah, which kind of makes me want to lean towards that one, just to have that experience. But yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
Mm-hmm. But otherwise, we hope to see you on some of our other videos. And as always, don't forget to
keep on nibbling
on our content.